Hello everybody and welcome to the Webb Installations GT3 Championship from the Redbull Ring. Now this is the only race this season in which weather is going to affect the day. As you can see, it is raining pretty hard out there and it will be for the duration of this afternoon's race. And that will be the only time this season that takes place. It's myself, Ewan, and James Parfitt taking you through another round of this championship. And we have got slightly lower numbers this time round, James, but we suspect anyway that is down to the weather because the rain is falling here this afternoon and it's not predicted to stop at any point today.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The weather's played a massive part in the fact that we've only got like 12 in the session, I think it is as well. And basically, not everybody likes the rain. Not everybody is a fan of the rain and they don't like driving it. I know there's a couple of people in another series I'll do later on that basically will not drive in the rain. They don't like it at all. So, you know, it is what it is, but I think it's still going to be a good race nevertheless.
Yeah, it should be amongst those who are actually here. Let's see who of the championship contenders are here as well, because it's very tight at the top right now. Matt Warner currently leading. Well, say that. He's tied with Chad Henson, to be fair. Tommy Patero just 2 points further back, tied with Ian Knox for third place. Brett Burness only a point further back. That's 5 drivers separated by just 3 points. And 6 drivers by 7 points, with Valdes Vansovicius in that 6th place. Graham Brown is next ahead of Peter Ferraro and Nicholas Green, tied in 8th. Steve Webb rounds out the top 10. Then it's Jerry Werner 11th ahead of Joel Singleton, 1 point ahead of Ben Gregory, who's 1 point ahead of Dean Sargent. Vladimir Marcha and Gaetano Cesare are tied for 15th ahead of Carl Cookson. Tom Weston and Eric Orchin are also tied. That's for 18th place at Trey Lambrecht, who rounds out the top 20. Andrew Ogley is next ahead of David Wang, CJ Wolford, Wooden Pekovic, George Metakos, Graham Matthew and Ben Mitchell, the final drivers to have set times or indeed scored points, I should say, here at some point this season. The points system, by the way, based on a combination of the finishing position for these drivers on any given afternoon and also some bonus points as well. So it was a good day for Graham Brown last week, but didn't jump up the standings a whole lot because a lot of other people got bonus points. And let's say there's 6 drivers separated by just 7 points right now. It's very, very difficult to tell who's going to win the title, but Henson and Warner are tied at the top. They're currently 1 and 2 for this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close. The run-in, we've only got 2 weeks to go as well. Let's not forget at the end of this one, we've got obviously the Red Bull Ring, and then we finish off at Spa. So I'm going to be interested to see how they get on at Spa. But the guys are getting onto the grid ready to go, and we can bring you up the grid right now.
Yeah, here's Matt Warner and Chad Henson, the two tied at the top of the championship, who are 1 and 2. Ian Knox and Tommy Patero are row 2. They are tied for 3rd in the championship. Would you believe it? It is almost exactly as it is in the championship. Vladimir Marcha is the first sort of out of place, as it were, up in 5th place. Good qualifying from him, with Valdes Vansovicius next. Then it's Gaetano Cesare and Nicholas Green on row 4, ahead of George Metakos and Eric Orchin. Steve Webb and Wooden Pekovic didn't set times during that session. I think the most impressive thing about that actually is that the top 6 cover by 1/4 second. Normally, I know this is a short circuit, but even in the wet conditions, even in a short circuit like this one, you see very big gaps. But for the top 6 to be so close, very impressive across the board there in these conditions.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it just goes to show that they've been practicing in the rain. I think at the end of the day, it's going to have a big effect on us. Now, we are going to talk about it really quickly while they're on their pace lap. Ian Knox has given us a little bit of a challenge. He's got his livery changed this week. He's in a Texaco livery, as I'm trying to get sort of right into the car, which would be interesting. There we go. And it's a bit of a challenge. Now, I will admit, I did have to research this, okay? I'm not going to claim that I knew where this livery was from straight away. I did have to do a little bit of research on it, and I have come up with the conclusion that it was Steve Soper's 1988 BTCC Texaco Ford Mustang. Now that is down in the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to say that is pretty much about as close to the real life livery as you're going to be able to get, so that's what I'm going with. But it has been run multiple times before as well. There has been other drivers who have run the Texaco livery: Davey Allison, Manuel Reuter, Klaus Ludwig, Klaus Niederwitz, and Steve Soper. Of course, Mike Manning run it in the Texaco livery, Ford Sierra RS 500 back in the day. So, but at the moment, I think I'm going to go with the Steve Soper 1998 BTCC. I think that's about as close as you can get to that one. So Ian Knox, I'm sure if you watch this back, you'll let me know whether or not I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, I don't really have a guess, to be honest, because I think this is going off last week where we deciphered, or I deciphered, that
You did, yes.
he was running a V8 supercar livery on that Ford Mustang. He's changed it this week. There was a couple of real-life liveries, actually. There was one of the Ferrari drivers had a livery that's currently used in the World Endurance Championship and has been for a couple of years. It is here again as well. It's Marcher, isn't it, on the inside line there in fifth place.
Cesare.
No, I'm talking about the one in front of him in the grey. That's not.
Oh, Vladimir Marcher's one.
Although Cesare, to be fair, now you mention it, that might be a real-life livery as well. Although I don't know what it is, so I can't really help you.
No, I don't know either, to be honest. Without doing the old fabulous world of Google, we were talking in the green room, and there was no way I was going to claim that I knew where Ian Knox's livery was from. I know we're supposed to know pretty much most things about the world of motorsport, but I didn't have a clue where that one was from. So I had to go and do research. But yeah, there was a couple, and I think it looks good. I think they're putting the effort in this season, which is nice.
Yeah. See, I think because he's Australian, I'm not sure he would pick a BTCC livery. Maybe he does know a lot about historic BTCC races and watches them or whatever, but I don't know. It seems unlikely to me, but it is the one that matches up best. I agree when you showed it to me that it looked most like that. So we'll have to find out afterwards, and we'll see if you're right or not on that one for Ian Knox, because he's driving now. He's not going to tell us. The pace car is about to be pulling into pit lane. A relatively short pace lap round here at the Redbull Ring, even though we have done the whole lap. It's a short circuit after all. 40 minutes of racing for the fourth time this season. We go racing every Sunday in March in GT3s this time round. It's the SB Webb Installations GT3 Championship in association with Jack Ashton Racing, and it's Matt Warner who is now in control of the field coming out of the final turn, and the 12 drivers get ready to go here at the Redbull Ring. Warner holds them for quite a long time. The green flag now does wave, and they immediately fan out. Knox immediately on the right-hand side, just looking for some space there, and Chubby Patero doing the same, but they couldn't quite get alongside. Oh, that's a dive from Knox, a big dive in towards turn one, and there's contact in towards turn one between the two championship rivals, Warner and Henson, and Patero then hits Warner as they both collided coming off of turn number one. They are all facing in the right direction somehow, but a great dive from Ian Knox has given him the early race lead.
Yeah, he has at the moment. Blimey, coming like an absolute banshee, and managed to send it free wide and make it through. Wilden Petkovic is out. I don't think he took for the start, to be honest, but Ian Knox, wow, that was basically where some of the carnage started to happen, and they've opened up 1.8 seconds over Matt Warner, he was involved with that with Tommy Patero, and Cesare has moved himself up into fourth place. So a great start for some, not a good start for runners. Gainers and losers on the left-hand side. You see Patero down 4, Cesare up 4, and Warner and Henson down 3 places. But that was a bit of a chaotic start.
Certainly was. Warner still ahead of Henson here, but the two make contact in towards turn one, and Henson's having another look here in towards the left-hander in the middle sector. Double left-hander through here, of course. This is the technical section, if you could say this circuit has one. That was turn 7, and that was turn 8 just afterwards, the right-hander, which really isn't a corner, to be honest. Then turn 9 and 10. Further in the background, that is Nicholas Green trying to get past Eric Orchin, and it looks like he has done for 9th place. There he goes into the top. Well, he already was in the top 10, but he's now 9th. Is Green, and Orchin further back. Steve Webb started at the very back end of the field. He still is at the back of the field. I think he's very much trying to stay out of everybody's way, trying to make progress from the back, really, because he didn't qualify. I suspect he didn't even try and qualify. He seems to me like someone who wants to get used to these conditions on his own from the back of the field, rather than starting in the midfield, trying to qualify and getting into trouble. He's just picking off places, and there's the first one up into the top 10 for him.
Yeah, I think some people are comfortable in the rain and some people aren't. You know, my boy George, he's comfortable in the rain. He can go and hurtle it around and have great fun in the process. But people like Steve may not be comfortable in the rain. So we'll keep an eye and see how he gets on. Chad Henson is currently got Matt Warner tucked in and practically alongside Tommy Patero in behind that as well with George Medicos, and Chad Henson does go through Tommy and does go through on Medicos, so to Patero up in that Lamborghini, the only Lambo in the field. The interesting thing for me will be how the Porsches will get on. How will Van Sivius get on as well, because the Porsche is very good in the rain if you've got it dialed in. So I'll be interested to see whether or not Valdez can move his way up through the field and how far he's going to get, and also the Porsche Nick Green. But again, it's like anything, right? If you stick a Porsche in the hands of a average racer, is it going to be as good as somebody who's a fast guy? Possibly not, but we'll see how he gets on for Nick Green, whether or not he can get that Porsche up through the order, because the Porsches are very good in the rain.
That's the traditional strong point, I guess, of the Porsche. Well, since it's moved to its engine a bit further forward, somehow it's still retained the rear engine qualities, and I'm not really sure how they've done it, but it is strong in the rain as a result. There goes Henson down the inside of Cesare, and at the moment Chad Henson is showing himself to be a lot quicker than his main championship rival Matt Warner, which is very interesting right now. This is the group for third place. The front two have rather gotten away at the front of the field, but Henson is looking to try and chase them down now in towards turn 3. Here comes Cesare again, almost on accident. He brakes too late and gets back down the inside of Henson. Here comes Warner as well. Is he going to sneak down there for a 3 wide moment? Last time they were 3 wide, Henson and Warner with somebody else. They made contact, and there's more door rubbing down the straight. They've got to be careful here. They've got to be careful, and they weren't. Down in towards turn 4. There's all sorts of contact. Henson and Warner both go off the road. Cesare spins into the gravel, and through comes Van Savicius into third place. Patero overtakes them all as well. Goodness me, the championship contenders not taking enough care, and Warner's hit Henson again there. He's hit him again in towards turn 6. Oh my goodness, this is a terrible moment for the championship leaders, who all go off in towards turn 4.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the afters of this as well, because there was more. Just as we went to replay, there was more incidents, and we're going to keep an eye now and see what went on going into. Oh, he just missed his braking point and hits him right up the rear end there for Matt Warner. So, yeah, but not great from them, well, them 3, really. Well, the 3 wide was on, and then fair play for them going 3 wide, but you can't crash on the straight. That's never a good idea. And Matt Warner looks like he's gone round again, unfortunately, coming through the final corner.
Should have come in pit lane. He's clearly damaged, and you can see him sliding immediately through the penultimate corner. And here it is again through the final one. He's never going to keep that on the road, and should have pitted, to be honest, because he'll only end up pitting at the end of this one, losing even more time. Matt Warner, this is not a good race for the championship leader, tied championship leader as he is. Good chance, though, to the likes of Tommy Patero and Ian Knox to gain some points here. Tommy Patero, for example, gained about 3 places. Well, he did gain 3 places in that exchange there, as the 3 of them went off to the gravel and the outside of turn 4. Now he's looking for another one with Van Savicius just in front of him, who was also a championship contender. But Ian Knox still leads, and he's the one taking the big advantage right now from these incidents. Yeah,
he has got Marcher tucked in right behind him at the moment. The gap's down to about 8 tenths. We can keep an eye and see how much further it comes down over the next 33 minutes. I think for Ian Knox, it's a big moment. He's got to go and just drive the wheels off that Mustang and see if he can. Oh, he's going to have it now. Marcher's gone and put it sideways. That's going to put Van Sivius and Tommy Patero second and third. So Van Sivius, we talked about the Porsche at the moment. He's the only one that seems to be keeping it on the racetrack. So a great job from him, from Valdez.
Dear oh dear. That was an unforced error, you'd say, from Marcher, who's down to 6th place, and that's promoted Van Savicius, Patero, Henson and Metikos up into the top 5, or indeed further up inside the top 5 if they were already there. It's given Ian Knox a 3.5 second lead now. Van Savicius now trying to hang on from Patero in 2nd place. What a great return it would be for Patero if he could work his way through the field again and get through. Wow, what a great exit that was. You don't often see that, a Lamborghini with more traction than a Porsche coming out of turn 1 in the wet weather conditions, but that just shows you how quick Tommy Patero is right now. Here he goes down the inside. and he's going to be through here. He's broken later. He's got his nose in front. He'll get the traction, and he's got second place.
You got to give credit where credit's due. That was a great move from Tommy Patero. I think at the end of the day, he nailed that coming out of one, and he got the run and absolutely smoked Vancivius. We know the Porsche generally isn't the fastest car on the circuit, but I don't think that even Vancivius thought that the Lambo had that much pace on him, and he was later on the brakes and just got through at turn 2. So yeah, stunning job from Patero. I'll be interested now to see what Valdez can do, whether or not he's going to come back at him through as the race goes on. We've still got 32 minutes, let's not forget. We've only been going 8 minutes. We've had people in the pits, people crashing on the straights, Petkovic not taking to the start. We've had a whole heap of drama already over the last 8 minutes.
We certainly have. Remarkable stuff, really, to see, as we've still got over half an hour to go. Vancivius is not going to give this one up, even though he was pretty easily overtaken, I would say, from Patero last lap. He's not going to give it up by any means. Through the final turn, just look at the readjustment there into the final turn. He had 2 goes at the steering lock. Patero able to get the drag on the front straight though, and he holds on to second place for now. Henson seems to be getting a bit closer to these guys. He's still 2 seconds away, and they are catching Ian Knox as well. Whether that's because of Patero now in second place, I'm not sure, but he is catching. That's Warner coming out the pit lane right in the middle of this leading battle.
The problem is it's really hard to question the exit, because he has been in front of them. You know, you're not expecting him to slow right down and wait, because he'll end up losing more time. But I'm hoping that he deals with the whole blue flag scenario quite happily, and if he is caught, we'll sort of, you know, remove himself from the equation. Although, yes, I know he doesn't have to, and they're only there for advisories and yada yada yada. We've heard it hundreds of times, but you know, I'm hoping he doesn't cause too many problems.
We will see, especially because we've seen incidents so far involving him. Let's hope that he won't get in the way. I think he'll be pretty quick, to be honest, and he won't be a problem. This is Nicholas Green, just in behind Marcher. Actually seems to be the one making the gains himself, actually. Metakos is next in line. I think Marcher could get that top 5 back again that he lost when he had that spin through turn 7. Oh, he just slides his way through turn 8, the very next corner this time round. Even with the traction control, you're unlikely to just slide a little bit in these cars. This is at the final couple of corners for Green. This is where the Porsche is probably going to be least strong on this circuit, these couple of turns. But everywhere else, I think the Porsche will be very strong. And a noticeable difference there, as Marcher happy to use the curb on the outside line. Green certainly not wanting to use the curb.
Yeah, Green's got this pretty dialed in, you know. I've been looking at his input going into the corner. It's a one continued input. It's not, a second bite of the cherry to get the car rotated. So he's driving it fairly well. I'd be interested to see what he can do if he gets to Marcher, whether or not he's going to be able to get through. I know further up in front of Marcher is Metakos, and then Warner's in front of that one. There's Matt Warner a lap down, of course. But watch the inputs. He doesn't really have a second bite at it. He rotates the car and gets it out. However, he was a little bit slidey on the exit there and had to, give it a little bit of a check on the steering. But, I think for Green, he's doing a great job keeping that Porsche going. And I'd be interested to see whether or not he can get Marcher, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. But still plenty of time left in this race. A long way to go in this race. And we said that time and time again this season. If you were with us last season, the MX-5 Championship, you'll really notice it as much as we've been noticing it. It's a much different race when you've got 40 minutes. It's a much longer race. You've got way more time on your hands, and it's an advantage in some ways that you can bide your time. It's also a disadvantage if you're having a difficult day. It just seems to go on forever compared to the previous rounds, but it's such a different way of racing. It's very interesting to see the difference for those drivers who were with us in the MX-5 Championship and have now returned in the GT3s as well.
Yeah, GT3s is a popular car, isn't it? Let's be real about it. The series generally, if you do a GT3 series, you're okay, and people will come on board and join in. But you can see Green has got closer now. I wouldn't do that. I would just sit the racing line and look for the exit out of 1 for the run into 2. I think that's what he's got done there. Marcher taking a sausage curve, which was dangerous, but he managed to get away with it this time. But now Green even closer than he was last time, closing in, coming into turn 2. He's got the dodgy uphill braking though. That's going to be the problem. If he can nail this, he might be able to get the run out of 2 down into 3. But at the moment, Green keeping everybody in track and making sure that Marcher knows that he's there. And unfortunately, by the looks of it, he didn't get the run out of 2, so he's going to have to hold on again.
This is the view that you get when you're on board and you're driving in the rain. You don't get to see a whole lot, to be honest, when you're following someone closely. That's Marcher going a bit wide through turn 4. Green will might get the exit, bit of a slide, but that's kind of the way you have to drive the Porsche out of the turns in the rain. However, he's not got the traction anyway, and again he will have to try and look for another way through. This is turning into a bit of a struggle now for Nicholas Green. The longer this goes on, the more difficult it gets for him, because that's will mean that Marcher gets more and more comfortable with a Porsche sat right behind him like that. And that will mean the chance of overtaking is even more difficult, because he'll be very confident in defending Marcher. So Green needs to start making some moves soon, at least putting some doubt into the mind of Marcher right now, because as it stands, he's not doing very much to try and get past. This is Gaetano Cesare, who's the only driver on the other side of the circuit to everybody else. All the other 10 are absolutely together. He went round for a spin on his own.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he has done. So he's going to have to try and play catch up a little bit now. Nick Green's still in there with Marcher. Marcher's still chasing down Medicos, the Acura, the Ferrari and the Porsche. Back up front, of course, we've got Ian Knox in that Mustang. However, Patero has brought him down to 1.2 seconds. So Patero looking mighty in that Lamborghini, and that is not words that we say very often on here. The fact that a Lambo is outpacing most of the other cars in the series. So again, driver more than car? Well, possibly, but Tommy Patero bringing Knox down to 1.2.
It is a lot down to the driver in these conditions, I would say. And Tommy Patero is showing himself to be very, very strong in the wet weather indeed. It was really actually brave from Ian Knox at the start of this race, wasn't it, to go down the inside at turn 1 in the way that he did. But the pace will always come to the fore in a race this long. That's again another difference, and why it is interesting to have a much longer race in the GT3 Championship compared to the MX-5s. You do get found out if you don't quite have the speed that you need to hold on to the lead, and that is what Ian Knox is experiencing right now. 25 minutes is a very, very long time to be defending, and as it stands, as they complete lap 9, Knox is effectively starting a very long defence of this race leading position.
Yeah, there was a massive difference in lines going through the last couple of corners. Knox kept that Mustang away from the curbs. He was like literally trying to not make sure he even remotely touched it. Patero in the Lamborghini absolutely nailed every single one and wasn't too afraid of using them. So I think it's really gonna be, I thought he was going to go for it. How comfortable they are over the curbs coming through the last section, because that's where 6/10 got lost from Knox on that last lap alone. So if he does it again here, he could be in deep, deep trouble, and he's going to end up losing quite a lot of time. So we'll see where we go here with the lines, and you'll be able to have a look and see what the difference is coming in, because they're coming into turn 6 now before they go in through 7 and 8, and the line difference coming through the final quarters on that last lap was a massive difference.
Yeah, you will get that more in the wet weather than you do in the dry. Of course, these two different manufacturers going to battle as well, as Patero not scared of using the curb there through turn 8. Normally you'd see drivers avoiding that quite passionately, actually, to avoid any slippery surfaces, as it were, but Patero more than happy to use it. Look at that on the outside of the final corner. And he's putting it to good use as well. Not sure what it is about him on that Lamborghini that is being able to ride the curves so well in these conditions, but he is making great use of it. Ian Knox on the defensive, but that Mustang power keeps him at bay in towards turn 1. Now, this could be trouble. Out of turn 1 and on the exit here. Patero again with a great exit, but he's going to get the nose chopped off there. Knox just cuts across him. Here comes Patero on the other side. He's going to have the initial speed. Knox's straight line speed should hold him his nose in front just before the braking zone, but Patero's braver on the brakes. He's on the outside through turn 3, and he's going to get just crowded out there, but the exit is phenomenal. Knox slides, and Patero should have the lead.
Yeah, he has. Knox got the slide on the exit, and that released Patero. My fear is now has Knox got the speed to keep up with Patero? Again, you see Patero using the curb on the entrance, Knox staying away from it, and it was that final corner. Again, the line difference was absolutely massive. Again, Patero takes curbs, Knox stays away. This is going to be a continual theme. Look how far Patero is out. Knox is out there, but not as far. And again, you see it coming through turn 6 and 7. Watch through 7. Patero just takes all of it. Knox kind of flirts with it a little bit. But this is the one. If this ain't over a second by the time we get out of this corner, it's a couple of corners, I'll be very surprised, because it is a massive, massive time loss for Ian Knox. Look how far Patero's out.
He is flying, Joey Patero, excuse me, and it looks like he's going to run away with this race lead. He just looks like the quickest driver in this field by some distance right now. Over the line, and lap 12 we'll begin. We should get 26 laps here, by the way, even though it's a rain race. It's a very short circuit, so we're going to get plenty of laps in here this afternoon. Further down, the battle between Metacross, Marcher and Green has not changed. There are the conditions on your screen. 7%. I'm not really sure what that means. Is that the strength of the rain, or is that the chance of rain? I don't know.
Strength of the rain, I believe it is on this one. I think when it pulls it in, and I think it's the strength of the rain. I don't think it's the percentage, because obviously see that it is still raining and Patero's still got the window wipers going.
I mean, technically, because it is a... Whoa, hello. That's a big slide in towards turn 3. Talking about this race as if it's won already. Ian Knox is absolutely right there, as Patero makes a small mistake. But yeah, I mean, technically, the percent chance of rain is 100%, because this is a set weather session. So we know what the conditions are going to do. It is going to rain, but it's actually been quite nice to them in that he's not let it absolutely team down. In fact, this is very light drizzle. And if we were to transition in a long endurance race to 7% rain, you would actually see the drivers staying out on slicks for a very long time and eventually moving to the wets, because as you can see, that's the tyre you need to be on for these conditions right now. But this is very light rain compared to what you can see in racing nowadays.
Knox needs to open up that turn. It's got to be braver out of 8 through the final couple of corners. He's just not far enough out through Rin to get the run through Redbull Mobile. So that's where he's losing a chunk of his time. Big and brave there, though. Fair play to him for doing that. But again, he lost time. He's got to be braver over that last few corners.
I'm not sure it's actually that helpful in the Mustang to be over the curbs like that, like it is in the Lamborghini. I think that there's a manufacturer difference there. There's a car difference there that Ian Knox is not able to benefit from the Mustang running over the curbs, because the Lamborghini just seems to be better at it. And you know, it is true that going on that curve up towards that final corner, as he's saying, to open out the turn would be helpful. I'm not sure he can actually do it at the moment in that car. Every time he goes on the curve, he looks like he's struggling way more than Tommy Patero is.
Yeah, but you can just see the amount of difference he's going to get there. Vladimir Marcher, Nick Green. Nick has got there. Are you going to go running outside of 3, Nick? No, not quite this time. Not quite brave enough. There was Hot Pickles in YouTube chat. It's Melbourne all over again. It is at the moment, mate. Just not quite as heavy and not as well. I'll say not. We haven't had many crashes. We actually have. So unfortunately, yeah, can't really do a lot. Nick Green. Oh,
that was nearly one. Oh dear. And here he goes back down the inside. So at the start of this lap, he was 6th, as you can see from the window there. He got through on the previous lap, and now he's been re-overtaken by Marcher. He's trying to re-overtake himself now through turn 7 and 8. That's a good exit as well, but the final 2 corners come up too quickly and the braking zone is not long enough for him to have a go. And not quite as sudden as Melbourne either. The rain has been very gradually just raining the entire time here today, as we always knew it was going to be. This is the only round of our 5 that we're going to see in the rain. Marcher going a little bit wide there again, and that's going to be a good run for Nicholas Green in towards turn number 1. Bit of defending from Marcher, but Green is going to be forced to the outside.
Did you not see Green's exit coming out the final corner? He had that Porsche, literally, the back end was like 20 degrees to the left from where the front was going. He got a big old slide coming out the final corner, Nick Green, and he just held it, which was a great job from him. But yeah, he did manage to actually get the Porsche sliding, so that was quite interesting. Is he going to go and try and dive up the inside of turn number 2? No, but he is looking for the run coming out of 2. The inside line seems to be somewhat slower there, but I think that's got something to do with the braking uphill over that bump. Because there's the bump on the exit, isn't there? And I think that really does give these guys something to think about when they're on the inside line. And it seems to be you need to sort of be a little bit wider to take the line to get through there. But Marcher, slow coming out of 3.
Was quite wide from Marcher up on the curb. It's weird how sometimes when you use the curb it's fine, sometimes it's not. Outside for Green, and he's not going to find himself around there. He kind of signed himself out of that. I think he could have made it actually around the outside, but he just fought halfway through. Oh, he's not going to make it, and there goes a spin for Marcher. He's been having trouble through turn 7 all day. He spun to the outside from second earlier on in that corner, and he spun right in front of Nicholas Green this time in that corner as well. That may have given damage to the front end of the Porsche. It's certainly given Green the position. It's given Steve Webb a place as well.
Yeah, was there contact going in? I don't think there was. I think Marcher just spun it up. And unfortunately, Green's got nowhere to go because he wasn't expecting him, and then just gives him a little bit of a bump round. You can't really blame Green for that. He had nowhere to go at all. I'd like to shout out Steve Webb, mind you. He didn't qualify, started at the back, getting used to the conditions, up 4 places. Great job from Steve.
Yes. I said earlier what I said about working his way through the field from the back end of the field. We'll see if that turns out to be correct. He might have just not been able to get a lap in qualifying, because you do have a limited amount of laps and it's quite hard to stay on the circuit in these conditions, but either way, it is 4 places gained so far from him. Here he is coming out of turn 3, and the only McLaren in the field, and it's certainly no match for the Porsche on traction, as you can see there.
Yeah, Nick Green just literally ran away from Webb, didn't he? I thought I'd jump on board because I thought we might have got a little bit of a dive go down into 3, but we didn't even get an exit coming out of 2. Oh, again, you're in quite deep there, Steve. Might want to just shorten that point up a little bit. You're a little bit far in on the braking point on that one, and you see him sort of kind of holding that car to try and make sure that he can get it rotated, but he needs to be probably 10-15 meters backwards on the brakes to be able to make that work. Marcher's now got Orchard in front of him in a corner. Oh, Orchard got a big old snap to the left there in a corner that has not done Marcher any favours.
Oh my word, he's all over the place, Marcher. Oh my word. Steady on. Well, I'm not sure why he's sliding so much, but he is struggling now, Marcher. And it's only going to get worse if he slides more, as it looks like he is doing at the moment. So, yeah, let's watch him out the final corner here. Again, wiggling all over the place. I mean, 2 spins, of course, will overheat your tyres quite badly, but also the way he's driving right now just seems to be putting a lot of heat through those tyres. It doesn't seem to be the quickest way to go about things either. He is sliding everywhere.
Yeah, he is, and I'm wondering whether or not he's doing 2 things. We'll watch him come out of 3, and I got a funny feeling he's applying the throttle in one foul swoop. Like he's almost slamming the throttle to try and get grip, and then when he try and get the exit, sorry, but when he does, it causes him no end of problems. And okay, he feathered it that time, which was a little bit better. But I think the couple of times we've seen him and he's a little bit wiggly, I think he's over-applied the throttle, and that is why that car has just gone, no, I don't like that. Please be nice to me in the rain here.
Oh, that's quite wide, quite deep.
Yeah, he's ideally as well.
Yeah, I guess it's the same as the dry, isn't it, really? You're braking earlier so that you can take a smoother line through the corner and a better exit on the other side. But Marcher not really doing that right now. Webb not quite as close to Green as he was before as well, as we enter the final third of this race already. Just 13 minutes to go in the fourth round of the SBO Installations GT3 Championship in association with Jack Ashton Racing. We've got one more round coming up next week, by the way. That'll be at Spa. Classic GT3 racing at Spa, isn't it? I bet millions of leagues do that every week. And we're having our finale there as well. And right now it looks like it's going to be a close finale as well. We're not sure on the bonus points yet that Jack's going to give out at the end of the day, but it's going to be on pure race points. Tommy Patero leading the championship ahead of Ian Knox, then Henson, then Warner as things stand. Although, as I say that, Patero makes a mistake, a really costly error from the lead of this race. And suddenly Ian Knox is at the front of this field now. It's at turn 3 as well. You don't often see solo spins or incidents through turn 3. Here it is. He's on the inside curb and he spins around. He'll be pretty annoyed with himself that he's made that error.
And if you have a look at that again and watch what he does, he bounces it off the sausage curb on the inside. Watch him lift that Lambo off. There's the sausage curb, bang, bounces it round, car's in the air, he's applied the throttle, and unfortunately for Patero, he has gone round. The interesting thing is with March, I just watched him over that last little bit. When he gets close, he slams the throttle. When he drops back, he gently applies the throttle, and he just needs to be in that.
Oh, that was rude. Oh, Marcher, that was a bit careless, really. You could see that Orchin was going a bit slower through turn 6, and Marcher was just hit him at a compromising moment there. He actually banged him back the right way again, to be fair. So it could have been worse. He righted him, but it was a bit careless, unfortunately, from Marcher there. He is up to 8th place, though. And Patero is starting to lose out a bit here on some traction. The front 4 are covered by just 3 seconds right now, or somewhere around there, with Henson closing on them all. This could be a very exciting finish in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, it depends on what goes on here. If Patero shows the speed he has got, I think Knox could be in trouble. But Valdez is really needing these two to fight right now. He needs these two to fight because he wants to get there with Henson. So it could be a 4-way fight, or it could be Patero getting Knox and Patero on his bike, not leaving Knox to have a go with Vancivius and Henson. So different scenarios taking place, and we're going to find out which way round it's going to go. But I can tell you one thing, Vancivius does not want Henson battling right now because they will lose time, and that is not what either driver wants.
Well, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, when you're third and fourth here, especially in Henson's position. He'll feel he's quicker than the Porsche, and so he needs to get through to try and catch the front 2. But as you say, they will lose time if they do that. So could be a tricky thing to work out between the two of them here, as Patero tries to get his head screw back on here and get back in the game for the race lead here, with Ian Knox in first. Again, Henson taking the Patero line, I'll call it, through the final corner there, opening it out, and look at what Patero's been able to do out front, by the way. He's going to get alongside Knox, who just cries him out. Oh, he's been hit there. Knox hit by Patero. The two championship rivals hitting each other into turn 1, and Knox has gone off. Wasn't down to the contact, but it was afterwards. He's made an error. He's back on again. He's still in the lead.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether or not they've got to come to slow down coming out of one flat. He did look very far over to the left-hand side, and there is slowdowns there, so I do wonder whether or not he may have got one now. Knox has got to try, and if he's going to get this off driving, he's got to drive precariously, slowly, but he's got to go fast enough for Patero not to get through, if that makes any sense. I know what I'm trying to say, but even here he's got to bring the Patero right in, because if he is trying to clear a slowdown at that point, I can tell you one thing, he's got to literally try and get it off on the racing line, which is not good etiquette, we know, but when you're in the lead of the race, you try anything to clear a slowdown as quickly as possible.
It kind of looked like to me he didn't get one at all, which is pretty remarkable, considering he went wide at turn 1 like that. But anyway, Knox still leads. It wasn't, I'd say, it wasn't down to the contact that Patero made with him, but I will say that Patero did hit him in a straight line there, Ian Knox, so not great, to be honest. Through the final couple of corners they now go, and Patero again goes wide. really off the track there, but Irishman will let you do that, and they will in real life as well. Another great run. Knox tries to cover him off, but he won't even be able to this time round. Patero's already alongside him. Knox was trying to cover off the inside last time round. That's where the contact came from. He's not able to this time, although he brakes later. He brakes later here, Knox now. Will Patero just go early and get the exit instead? It looks like he might well do here. Chad Henson's got a pretty good exit behind, but not as good as Patero's as well. In towards turn 3. Ian Knox is going to be on the defensive again now as they plunge up the hill. He stays to the right-hand side. Patero almost tries to fool him to get himself down the inside, but he can't. Very nearly contact. Patero again looks for the exit. Chris crosses down the inside. Great traction in that Lamborghini again. Brilliant traction in that car here today as he gets alongside the Mustang with just 7 minutes to go. What a fight for the race lead we're seeing here between these two. Patero and Knox chasing him all the way to that narrow line. Patero not quite strong on the brakes, especially on a narrow line like that. Now Knox needs a good exit because that's where the Lamborghini's been strong. He's still alongside, is he? No. Patero has to get into line, finally into the middle sector. What a battle between these two for the lead.
Yeah, Knox is driving so defensively. He is defending harder than a Jose Mourinho football team right now because he is literally just trying to cover him off every single opportunity he gets. He is wishing that Valdez gets onto the back because at the moment Knox has got a job and a half, but he's doing it so right. That's the thing. He's got to come out of this final corner. Oh, there's a bumper there. I think that might have been Cesare in that one. But he's got to come out of this final corner and he's got to get that car to the right. He's got to get it to the right. If he can't get it to the right, he needs to make sure he tries to at least block him in some sort of way. He does manage to get the exit. Valdez is now coming as well. But watch what he does coming out of one. He's got to make sure he nails one to the precise moment. Now he's got to get over there. Get over. He's got to get over and block him off. But as he comes into two, he does something. He gets Patero on that outside line and he just pulls that Mustang away from the white line. There he is. There it goes. He's left the door.
Oh, there you go.
He's going to go up the inside, is he? Tommy Patero. Look at
Henson. Oh, look at Henson. Chad Henson. And off. Valdez Fonsevius goes for a spin out in the Porsche. A disaster for him through turn 3 as the battle for the lead transpires. Tommy Patero has the lead. Chad Henson, with a great bit of driving, gains 2 places in one. And suddenly, this is a very different battle for the race lead from what we were seeing a few moments ago. Exactly what you were saying it did happen. Knox there generally brings it back to the racing line when he thinks he's in the clear. Patero had recognised that as well. He used that very small gap on the inside, and it was quite a small gap, to fire down there at turn 3, make the move, and now he's got the lead. Knox effectively out the picture. It's between Patero and Henson for this win now.
Maybe not now because the Acura got a big old slide coming out of turn 8 and he's brought himself back into the Knox situation. We'll have a look at why these guys have just settled just for a second, how Valdez ended up getting spin. You can see the inside line. Knox barely gave him an inch there. Oh, Valdez, you're on the sausage curb. Oh. And that unfortunately was that one, but these three fighting out. But yeah, he did do it. He brought the car away back onto the racing line, and Patero just went, thanks very much, and he took the smallest gap you could possibly ever find here. Watch Henson, he did what I said. He moved it away when he thought he was safe. Patero recognised that, and he went in and sent it in the inside, and that was it, unfortunately. And then Valdez out on the sausage curb, round he goes. But yeah, for Henson, he did it all right. He did everything right, apart from that one moment that Patero got it, because Patero recognised what he was doing.
It was if there's a award that we can give for overtaking the season, then I might be willing to go for that one. That was great driving from Tommy Patero to get into the lead of this race. He's not quite in the clear yet, though. He has got 2 laps to go at the end of this one, and I think, and then maybe 3. We'll see what the time is when they get to the line, but he's got a couple of laps anyway, at least 2 to hold on here from Chad Henson, who is looking pretty quick, and it making me wonder a little bit what would have happened to Henson if he hadn't have made that contact with Cesare and Warner earlier on in the race. The race, of course, always full of what-ifs, but Henson showing that he is very quick right now. Although then again, would he have caught Patero and Knox if they weren't fighting in the way they were through those final few laps? neither of those things we're ever going to know. But what we do know is we've got Patero and Henson battling for the win here with just 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda. If, but, what, maybe. That's basically what we ask a lot of the time when we're doing stuff like this, because what happened if Chad didn't do this, and what happened if, we don't know the answer. To be blatantly honest, so you know what I mean? We never have a clue. But at the moment, Patero's got one and one more. I think they're going to have here before they end up on that final lap. And you know, the driver of the day. I'm not. Oh, Chad. Oh, I'm not really sure where to go. I've got to be honest. I've got a mixture of people who I think would be a good prospect for driver of the day. But I'm not really sure. I hope you've got somebody, Mr. O'Leary.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple at this stage. It's a pretty open one, isn't it, actually? There have been some weeks in the last 3 where we've been sort of struggling to find one between the two of us, because there hasn't been... there hasn't been any driver particularly running through the field really well. Maybe it's just a personal thing. I don't like particularly to give it to the race winner, because I feel like they've had enough glory from the day. So... It was a bit tricky, and it can be. And there was a very obvious one, Tommy Patero at week 1 at Snetterton. I think the last 2 weeks have been a bit more difficult. This week's probably the most open we've had, maybe even since we started covering the MX5 series as well as this series, actually. It's very open. A lot of good drives here today, a lot of good battles as well. Great action, but probably the best race of the season so far here. We've got just 1 lap to go of it for Tommy Patero to hold on for the win here when he crosses the line in a couple of corners' time.
You know, the interesting thing is how many times have we covered series that have got low numbers, but the racing's been absolutely blinking epic. And this is one of them. You know, we only had 12. I can't remember what we had last week, like 18, I think it was. But this has been awesome. You know, and it just goes to show it doesn't really matter what you've got on the grid. If you've got 10 cars and they put on great racing, who cares the fact that you've only got 10 cars? This has been awesome. I've loved this race today. And as you say, I think it may be well and truly one of the best race of the season.
Absolutely. You only need 2 cars for a race, after all.
Well, yeah,
and,
but,
you
you do, you're right.
I know. Well, I mean, Patero and Knox would have given us a good show on their own here today by the way this race has gone so far. Although we do enjoy having the other 9 here as well. That much is certainly true as well. They've given us the action today. It does look like Patero is just about going to edge this one ahead of Chad Henson. This gap's just a second right now. The championship between the 3 of them especially is going to be very close. Warner's going to fall back quite a long way in this one. Van Savicius is going to be there or thereabouts, because we don't know where the bonus points are going to go yet either, and there are 20 at most. So if you can grab those, you'll be right in the game, and that might give somebody a bit further behind a bit of a chance to get into the picture. Someone like Nicholas Green could, or Steve Webb, inside the lower end of the top 10 in the championship. If they could get all the bonus points somehow, then they'd be right in the game. But we'll update you on the points at the start of next week's race, of course, when we are live here again on the 30th of March. This is the final couple of corners, though, for Tommy Patero. The time has now elapsed. He's driven very well today. He's been bravest over the curbs. He's been able to use that Lamborghini to great effect. And Tommy Patero is going to win again in the SP Webb Installations GT3 Championship, this time in the rain at the Redbull Ring. Just under a second ahead of Chad Henson, who was in the wars at times here today, but ends up with a 2nd place finish ahead of Ian Knox, who led for much of that race, finishing in 3rd. What a fantastic race, especially between those 3 out front.
Oh, that was epic. You know, Van Savicius was there as well, and you've got to give him a shout for staying in there, and unfortunately that one mistake cost him. Metacosta's going to go over the line. He's got Green tucked in right behind him. Steve Webb up into 7th place at the same time. Marcher has had, well, I think he's had more ups and downs than a roller coaster at Blackpool, to be blatantly honest. For Vladimir Marcher, he's been up, he's been down, he's been around, he's had it all. And Eric Orchin comes over the line there to round it off. So great race. I've got to be honest, well done everyone in this one, all 11 of you that took part. It was absolutely amazing. So I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Absolutely. It's Tommy Patera who wins ahead of Chad Henson, with Ian Knox just bring up the rear of the podium there. Valdes van Servicius will be disappointed with fourth maybe in the end, but it's still a good result for him. George Metikos with a great top five as well. Nicholas Green sixth ahead of Steve Webb, who started from the back to get to seventh. Valdemar Marcher down to eighth after a couple of spins. Eric Orchin was overtaken by him not long before the end. Katana Cesare and Matt Warner finished one lap down. Wood and Petkovic didn't take the start of this race. So, who do you have? Well, yes, you do have some driver of the day options, but who do you have for round 4?
I've got 3.
Okay, I think I might have 3 as well, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
So
Go ahead.
I've got Chad Henson for his recovery after his incident. I've got George Metikos for what I believe is his best finish of the season. And I've got Steve Webb for gaining 4 places for the back end of the grid up into 7th.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go with the same. I think the only one I was maybe not going to go for actually, and just bring it down to 2 immediately, was Chad Henson, because it is a good recovery, I suppose, but there was an incident after all, and
okay.
I don't like saying this about people, but he was a pretty big part of it.
Okay.
So I don't mind striking him out. In terms of George Metikos or Steve Webb, I don't actually know whether that is Metikos' best race of the season. I feel like it is, but that is a very good performance from him to be in the top 5. And only just, by the way, hanging on from Nicholas Green there. They were quite close towards the end. But Steve Webb coming from the back as well. I can't pick between them, to be honest. They had very similar races in that they were actually quite quiet, but had good results at the end.
I think, as we're going to chat, it's really hard because obviously we were going to chat with Steve at the end of next week's race as well. I feel that's a little bit of an unfair thing for not to pick him, to be blatantly honest. But I think that is George's top 5. I think that is his highest finish.
If there is nothing to choose between them, I mean, I think we should go for the one who's finished higher, personally, which is George Metikos, who finishes front. I mean, we really can't pick. No. There's nothing to choose between them in my mind. So I think going for the best placed driver is the best we can do because it is so difficult to pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should go with George. I'm just checking. I'm on round 2, and at the moment, where is he there? Yeah, this is his best finish. This is his best place, I believe. Even from last week, I don't think he was It's his tied best place because last week he was 5th as well. But let's go with George because otherwise we're going to be we could be here all day, me and you.
We certainly could. Let's have a chat with him. George Metikos, congratulations on a second top 5 for the second week in a row and winning our Driver of the Day award as well. I've got to tell you. How was the race generally in the rain? The only rain race we've got this season, and you seem to deal with it pretty well without any incidents for yourself. How did you find it out there today?
I mean, it was my first rain race actually ever. So I was mostly trying to, do my best and keep it in the track. But I guess everything worked out in the end. And yeah.
Yeah, how have you been finding the last couple of weeks? Because you finished in the top 5 last week as well. You seem to be gradually improving as well. Does it feel like you're generally improving in these GT3s?
Yeah. I mean, it was a huge jump for me from the MX-5s to go to the GT3s, but right now it's I don't know, I'm kind of feeling it, I guess.
One final one. Will we be seeing you at Spa next week, and how do you think you're going to go around there?
Yeah, of course. Kind of my favorite track. So let's see how
All
it
right,
goes.
we look forward to seeing you there. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
I don't know. Shout out to all the guys in the league for giving me this opportunity because it's awesome. Racing with these guys, the community is very nice.
Right, well, it's great to have you here. Congratulations on the top 5 today, George, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you very much, George Metikos there, 5th place here today for the second week in a row. It seems very pleased with his afternoon's work as well, and why not? Because that's a second top 5 in a row, and we've had a fantastic evening or afternoon rather around this circuit. As I said towards the end of the race, best race of the season so far, and we're going to do well to top that at Spa next week, I think.
I agree. I think I 100% agree. I think although we only had 11 cars, it was awesome. And I think they should all take a bow because it was absolutely mighty. So fair play to them for that one. looking forward to Spa. Shame we ain't going to have rain, but I think, should be a good one.
I'm not sure that rain would fit quite as well at Spa, actually, as it did here. But either way. And also, if we can get a few more drivers to the start line because it isn't raining, then I think that's probably going to be seen as a good thing overall. I very much thank you again for tuning in here this afternoon. It's been great to be along for the SPUM Installations GT3 Championship in association with Jack Ashton Racing. Once again, one more week coming up in 7 days' time. A championship finale from Spa. Very much hope you can join us then. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt. Until we see you at Spa in 1 week's time, it's goodbye for now.
Jungle.